the garage. And we have some plans for this garage. It needs a lot of cleanup, as does the rest of the place. But we're up to the challenge.
Welcome to our garage conversion. We wanted to give you a look around on the outside, and we'll take you inside as well to show you what we've done. So we converted a 2-car garage into a 1,400 square foot living space that we're going to temporarily live in while we remodel the house on the property.
We did it all for less than $31,000 in less than 4 months. And we did all the work ourselves except the concrete and the excavation.
So we decided to use metal on this building. It matches what the existing garage had on it, and it just was easier to work with in the time frame that we had, and it saved us some money as well. We sourced this from a local supplier, and they don't make the steel itself, but they bend it into the shape that it is, just locally here. We put a vapor barrier. So one thing that we did on this is we wrapped the whole place in a vapor barrier before we put the metal on, just to help seal out any wind or any moisture that possibly could come in. We also put a vapor barrier on the inside underneath the drywall as well to seal that cavity from moist air from inside getting against the cold metal. Underneath the roof panels, we did put an insulation down over top of the joists and over top of the purlins, and then laid our metal down on top of it to allow us to have that open space inside. We did not put insulation underneath the walls on the outside. The wall cavities are all filled with insulation though from the inside, like you would build a standard, exterior wall.
Welcome to our kitchen. We decided to hang all of our cast iron up on hooks, but the cabinets, we actually went to a local resale shop, and they happened to come up with a couple cabinet sets, which they usually always have cabinets. So we were able to get all of our kitchen cabinets, which is kind of a mix and match, but that didn't matter to us because this is a kind of a temporary living situation. So we were able to get all of our cabinets for $650, which was a win, especially compared to spending, usually thousands of dollars on brand new cabinets.
So we decided we wanted to try and be as thrifty as possible, but still make something nice. So we've done this before in the past, where we've built desks for the kids using cabinet grade plywood. One side is sanded really smooth, and it's not always the strongest thing in the world as far as resisting dents or anything like most cabinets are, but for us it's a good usable countertop. So that's all we did for countertops is just cut out the shape that we needed, the size, and screwed it on from underneath just like you would a normal countertop, and put a couple coats of polyurethane on it, and we have a good waterproof, semi-heat resistant countertop. Our kitchen cabinet, we couldn't find a bottom for our sink. We picked this sink up at a restore for I think it was $20?
Yeah, Habitat for Humanity has restores across the country, and we had a really good one in Arkansas before we moved.
We always have a lot of different things we like to store underneath the sink, so I framed up, same dimensions of what a bottom for a kitchen would be, and I'll put a wood face on it, and you won't even notice that it's different from a normal cabinet.
And then the kitchen faucet we actually ordered it on Amazon. I was browsing through faucets, and all of them were over $150. Most of them were over $200, and I thought, oh my goodness, I don't want to spend that much on a faucet. And then I found one, it was $65. It had fantastic reviews, and I thought, well, we're gonna give it a try. So we did, and it's been a pretty good faucet. The backsplash, it looks like subway tile. vinyl.
I think it's actually vinyl. It's
Yeah.
kind of soft.
It sticks on.
It's malleable. You can bend it a little bit.
We knew we wanted a backsplash in here because of we wanted easy cleanup, and we didn't want to ruin the drywall underneath, especially around the sink and the stove, because you have a lot of splatters when you're cooking or washing dishes. So we knew we wanted something. We had to be really ingenuitive when it came to storage. So another part of our storage was our old island table, which used to be a post office table, and we built a shelf underneath there to put more pots and small appliances like crock pot, Instant Pot, things like that. So we weren't taking up cabinet space with that. We got rid of a lot of stuff. But stuff that we just didn't need. And then some stuff went up to the rafters for storage until we can move into our house. As for other storage, we have the china cabinet. We have a buffet for some of my food because of my food blogging business, for some of my food props and dishes. Down in Arkansas, we had a recyclable pickup, and here we don't have that. Got these recyclable bins, and then I've just separated them. And then in the barn, which is right outside the house here, we have a small barn. We have trash cans set up so that when these get full, we can just go empty it into whichever trash can it goes in. Then we can haul that trash can into town, drop off our recyclables, and there we go. And then with our food storage, we have we put most of our food on these sturdy shelves, and then over there we have 2 cabinets that we had in Arkansas. They're just, where did we get those? Lowe's?
Lowe's?
Yeah, they're just basic utility cabinets that we bought, and we're storing food in that too. We just didn't want to have to buy extra cabinets or take up cabinet space with food. We do have a little bit of food over there, but most of it's on this side.
We needed light in here as well, so we went around looking for different options of lights. We looked at a lot of places for used lights. Nothing kind of really matched what we were going for. We found these industrial styled hanging lights.
Farmhouse style.
Kind of, yeah, like a farmhouse, vintage farmhouse style. They were relatively cheap. We, outfitted them with LED bulbs so they didn't take up much power, but we've got some hanging above our sink. We have some to put above our stove eventually, but they're all the kind that you can hang and adjust to different lengths. So they worked out really good, and they were relatively cheap.
This is the dining room and kind of our school area. We were able to fit our dining room table here, and then all of our school supplies and art supplies. Downsized our maps because our big maps wouldn't fit. And then Dan put a nice shelf all across the ceiling for a lot of our books that we are using or will be using in the future, and resources that we have for school. So, and then of course our china cabinet holds some more of our dishes and things like that. Then we have a work area, and we have our living room.
So where Melissa's standing, this was the original front of the garage. When we bought the place and moved in, this is where the doors were that you'll see and later in the video in some of the clips. This was the opening coming in. There was an entry door on the side, which you'll be able to see. That's still there. But this was the literal opening, and this is where we added on from this point forward. They had big sliding doors that moved left and right. The drywall, we decided not to finish the drywall. We put vapor barrier up behind the drywall. We probably will never go through and do any mudding because this will eventually be turned into a garage or another space. If we ever do decide, we can come back and finish it later on if we want to and paint it nice. So at the time we were building, materials were already fairly high, and we were starting to see a shortage of different building materials. So the only thing we were able really to find were some of these vinyl single hung windows. They're insulated. They actually work really well. They've done extremely well through the winter. So another thing that was high on our list was ceiling fans. Because we have this open ceiling, and a lot of our heat gets trapped up there, we have the fans reversed to where it's blowing the air to the sides. So it's literally pushing the air around, circulating it. During the summer months, it starts to get a little warmer in here. These ceiling fans are amazing. They'll make it feel cooler in the same way during the winter. You change the direction and they'll make it feel warmer in the bottom.
And then one other thing that we really needed lots of was lots of shelves for books. Dan was able to put these really nice shelves all across from wall to hold all of our books. We have them on both sides of the garage, so we have plenty of storage for books, and I even have a picture of my dad and one of my mom's oil paintings up on the shelf. So it just feels a little more like home and gives us atmosphere and storage space. When you have a farm, you have a lot of mud. So I knew that we would need some sort of mud room for our coats and boots, and just a place that we can come inside and take everything off and have a place to contain it. So we have a closet bar with all of our, well, most of our good coats. Some of them are work coats. And then we have all the hooks for all the coats and overalls, things that we wear on an everyday basis. And it looks like a lot, but we have 5 people, and we live in the Ozarks where the weather kind of yo-yos back and forth. So one day you might need a heavy coat and the next day you might just need a flannel shirt. So we have handy hooks to hang everything up. Even have some hooks over here for Zeke's jacket so he can hang his up. Hats. And then we put some cubbies and baskets for gloves. We have a lot of gloves. You can never have too many gloves. Hats. We have some scarves and different things. So things to keep us warm and things to help us work. And then on the floor we put a great big rug to kind of contain any water that comes in, especially when it snows. And then I have trays to hold all the muddy boots. And sometimes they get filled up with water, especially when we come in with snow on our boots, but they're easy to just empty off, or it'll evaporate eventually. And then we have a bench that we can sit on to put our shoes on, or lay stuff out on when it gets wet, like gloves. And then over here we have more shoes. We don't have any closet space, so we had to come up with ways to have to put our clothes and our shoes and places that we could put those things. So I got this shoe shelf, and it holds, I forget how many pair of shoes it holds. I think it's 30. But anyway, most of it's my shoes. Not all of it. Some of it's Zeke's, and then we have some of our water shoes and sandals and things. But then we took an extra kitchen cabinet that we had from when we went to the resale shop, and we have all of our towels and wash rags, beach towels, real handy right here, so they're kind of within vicinity of both bathrooms.
When we bought this place, they said we have another house here that we're going to start remodeling really soon. But inside that house was a newer gas furnace, water heater, and outside someone had put in an outdoor wood boiler. So we decided we wanted to go ahead and use that outdoor wood boiler and to heat our place over the winter. It has the capability to heat the garage as well as heat the house. So what we did is, when we brought water line down to this building, there was no water line here before. I installed insulated pipe for coming from the boiler system as well. This brings in hot water from the boiler and returns it back to the boiler. Because we have a boiler, we are able to put in what we call a plate exchanger to supply our hot water. The cold water comes into this. It doesn't mix with the water from the boiler, but it runs through plates that are, side by side. So the hot water from the boiler comes in, passes directly beside the cold water coming in from the well and comes out hot. So you got a hot water going in, and from the furnace it goes in and goes out over to our furnace. I've got a water to air exchanger to get our heat out of the water. So that furnace provides us with instant hot water, and basically, hot water for days. We could all take showers and run a dishwasher, fill a washing machine, and never run out of hot water. And all of this is heated by wood. So we just have a boiler that sits outside on the north side of our house, and we just keep feeding it wood through the day. It's very economical, doesn't burn very much wood, hardly smokes. We built everything around the plumbing. Our washing machine, our bathrooms are all right kind of in the central, mechanical room where our furnace is and our water lines come into. And our plumbing goes out one way, everything's close, so we didn't have a lot of cost in materials. This is the bathroom we put in for the boys. Originally we were going to have a shower, but to get a little extra space for another fridge in here, we decided to go ahead and skip the shower and just share with them temporarily while we're working on the house on the property here. Just a very simple design, toilet, small sink. We got a little vanity in there for them as well. This bathroom is raised up off the concrete again as well, so that we can take it out later on without any holes in the concrete to patch. So all our plumbing is up on top. It's all located in the same general vicinity as the furnace and the plumbing coming in, so everything's pretty close together. That saved us quite a bit of cost from having to run a bunch of plumbing throughout the space. We just put simple stick down 12 by 12 floor tiles that you can get relatively cheaply. They seem to work really good on the plywood. We're still got to finish a few things in here. Got to get a fan put in and a light, but that involves crawling up in the attic, and I'm kind of saving all those things for one trip up there. I got some extra wiring to do and some outlets to hook up there as well. Okay, so this is the boys' room. This garage originally was just a small one. It was actually a small shed. I think it wasn't even made for a car. It was wide enough for a car, but not very. It was a single car garage, and it was. You'll see it on this. This would have been the outside wall originally, but when someone, I'm not sure where, they added on to it. They built some new trusses and they added on another larger side here, and they used it as a two-car garage. The windows had been leaking for quite a long time, had rotted out quite a bit of the wall. We had to go through and replace a lot of wood in the wall and reframe it up, put new windows in. We insulated it heavily, put up vapor barriers to help seal it from the wind as well as to keep moisture from going into the wall and condensating on us. In the same way with the ceilings, since there was no insulation on above the trusses, and we didn't want to take the roof off, we opted to go ahead and put drywall up on the ceilings. We put a vapor barrier up first, and then we put drywall on top of it, and then we blew an insulation on the back half of this garage. I did put in some heating duct up there, and each room has a couple registers in it that blow heat in.
We put a closet bar up so they'd have room for their hanging clothes, and then we also put a shelf above that for more storage with a couple bins. And then we also went and I knew we needed storage for some of their toys, for Zeke's toys. So we went and found this old wardrobe on Facebook Marketplace and went and picked it up, and it works perfect to contain all the toys.
Another thing that we did in this, because the space is limited, we were looking at doors and buying, standard, doors. We looked at pocket doors, but they're so ungodly expensive right now, it just didn't make sense. And we found these old-fashioned divider sliding doors. So these actually block a little bit more sound than what I thought. Jaden does his drum lessons, and there's a noticeable difference with these doors when you close them. Because he's drumming and has lessons, we did insulate on their bedroom. We insulated the interior walls just to help with that sound resonation throughout the house. So that if we're one of us is on a meeting or we're trying to record something, we have less of a chance of hearing it. And our oldest boy plays guitar as well, so he can come in here and close things up, and it helps tremendously. But go ahead.
The nice thing about it is when they want it open, they can just pull it open and it's not in the way.
This is entering into our bedroom area space, furnace room. So we do have a propane furnace, but we're not using the propane side of it. But it is there for backup if something does happen to the boiler. And then, our bathroom, like I said, our bathroom's here. Our kitchen is on the other side there.
We have another folding door
Yep.
So
Eventually we'll put some more drywall up on here.
It's very effective.
That'll be closed in.
There's a wall over there and another door right here. So, you know.
So I am using, so underneath these bathrooms, I left everything open to the furnace room. And I've got some small other vents that are going to go in here, but I'm using this space inside here to pull all the air for our return air into this space. So we'll have return air coming in underneath the bathrooms, return air coming in from the front and back over here on these walls as well. So everything was designed in mind to keep it minimal. We just have a ductwork going up to the top, and then, you know, it's kind of like a T, and it goes to each space to heat each space. So it's very simple, but very effective for us. And like I said, our electrical comes in here. We ran all new, there was some electric in here at the beginning, a couple outlets and some lights, but we ran all new electrical to code, brought everything up to code, put in ground wire, you know, grounds and everything like that. So, you know, all our drain lines are PVC, but we decided, I've always used PVC in the past for water lines, but we decided on this build that we wanted to switch over to PEX. I had a feeling that, you know, it was a little more expensive than PVC, but it wasn't near as time consuming. But, you know, winters can be very unpredictable here, as we found out this year. We got down to -15 for a few nights. For almost 3 weeks now, we've been, you know, under 20 degrees or lower as our highs through the day. So, you know, we put all new water lines in from the well. We rebuilt the well house as well. I put in PEX just in the event that maybe something ever happened like this, that we had a heavy winter, or, you know, power went out or something like that. PEX is a lot more resistant to busting when it freezes, especially if you know, drain the pressure off the line. It hardly will ever break, and once it thaws out, you can put pressure back to it and you're back to normal. So we ran, you know, PEX line all the way from the well all the way into the old house, and through the old house into here, so that we're ready when we start working on the old house. We'll already have our water lines, you know, in it and ready to go. Our furnace lines all, you know, run through it already as well, so we're already got heat in there if we, you know, when we're ready for it, and we'll still have heat down here. So,
and then we have our laundry area. Again, we were able to get cabinets along with our kitchen cabinets. These might have been included in that $650, I think. Because,
yeah, they were.
And these are handy for storing all our soaps and things, and even I have some paint in there. But it's just handy for all our supplies like that. And then washer and dryer are on the back, on that back side of the bathroom. Bathroom's on the other side of that wall.
This is our master bedroom, master bath area. So this was originally the old garage. I'm unsure of when it was built, but I know it was built quite a long time ago. It's built out of the same oak that the house was built out of. I was told that most of these buildings in here were built. The house was started in 1917. The garage, this little garage here, you can see it's vaulted. This was the original. This is where the original roof was. They left all the rafters and stuff in here still from the old roof. So we decided, you know, we had to do some extra framing underneath here to get everything to where we could get drywall on it. But we were able to go through and get this all sealed up, insulated really well. Had existing concrete here. It's all sloped out to the front, but we've been able to make that work.
And it was covered in how much manure, Jacob?
Oh, there were places where it was almost an inch thick.
Yeah, it was covered in probably an inch thick of...
I mean, there was piles a lot bigger than that.
Yeah. The previous owners, they must have been using it to keep cattle in, or the cattle were just looking for food. I noticed there was a bunch of feed spilled out on the floor. From what I understand, they just left the animals here and took off, you know, trying to get away from the banks chasing them on foreclosing. So yeah, we found a lot of dead cattle where they just literally were eating whatever they could find, plastic even, and, you know, they can't digest plastic, so they just starve to death and die. really a sad thing. And
There was also a lot of needles and medicines and stuff like that, syringes all over the floor in here too that we cleaned up, and just really nasty.
We've got a small space. We've got everything in here that we possibly can. We're only like 12 foot wide here, so it's fairly small, but using...
Don't really have any closets.
No.
So yeah, we just put, again, closet bars, and Dan has what is that, a shelf bracket?
Just a shelf bracket. I don't have very many, hanging clothes, so it worked really good for me just to put a shelf bracket on the wall for now.
And I put a bar up for my clothes and then a shelf above, and then we have some shelves and the sewing machine. Just have it to where we can store some of our things but also live in it and rest in it. We have another utility cabinet that we just filled with all of our toiletries. I have a few first aid supplies back down there. But then all of our other first aid supplies are over here in this desk. I filled up the top. It's right next to the bathroom so we can get to all of our band-aids and salves and like
even shoe cream.
Hydrogen peroxide. Actually, that's salve. And then I have this drawer too with cotton balls. Things we might need if we get hurt. This is the master bath. And you can see this step up because we have the plumbing again on top of the concrete. But it's underneath that elevated portion. And again, the laundry is right on the other side of that wall, so everything's tied in together. But once you step up, and you got, the toilet, you got this tub. We were able to find the tub of, I think we spent $100. Got that at the Habitat Restore, which was awesome, because tubs are expensive. $65 for the sink and the vanity. Cannot beat that. And then the lighting we were also got at the same resale shop. I think we paid maybe $5 or $10 for that. That's our master bath. Oh, and the fan. We do have simple bathroom fans just for ventilation set on a timer.